Hello and welcome to Film Juice. I'm Mike, and today we're going to be talking about Crimes of the Future, a David Cronenberg joint, which is just as viscerally disgusting and philosophically interesting as you'd expect it to be. Here we're introduced to a future society where humanity has entered an accelerated state of evolution. Some people can now spontaneously grow vestigial organs. These people are also becoming less human as they like to chew plastic and eat these weird purple candy bars. We'll get to that later, or we won't. In this future, people are also super into pain as pleasure. You know what I'm talking about. And also, it's shown that we're reliant on this weird kind of, like an exoskeletal biomechanical technology that's pervading the background of everything. The bed that Viggo Mortensen's character lays in the beginning it looks like an insect, and it's never explained, but it's just kind of looming there in the background. You see like the chairs are made out of some kind of bones of something not normal. So yeah, there's this biomechanical thing just kind of sitting in the background of a lot of scenes. So we meet Viggo Mortensen's character, Saul Tenser, such a great name, and his performance art partner, Caprice, played by Léa Seydoux, who I've never actually seen in a movie before this, a movie that was longer than, 25 seconds. We meet them as a unit. They are performance artists who exploit Saul's ability to grow organs and turn the excision of the organs into a show. This is how they make a living. They're famous. They attract a lot of artsy people, and we see their shows, and it's very, the gore and the effects in this movie are, one, they're very practical, and two, it's not really gore. It feels very medical, kind of sterile. It's gross and hard to watch. Like, I can watch a movie where somebody gets stabbed in the back, but watching a movie where somebody is surgically sliced open and their skin peels apart and it's done with these bizarre surgical tools. If you don't like looking at some innards, oh boy, there's plenty of looks at Saul Tenser's innards. So we see them in their element. At the same time, there's something bigger going on. There is a dead 8-year-old boy who was one of these plastic eaters. He was killed by his mother, and now Scott Speedman, the father, finds the body. He takes the body, and we don't know why. I don't want to spoil it too much. I'm not going to spoil it. So we come to find Saul at the center of not just the artistic community, but also the scientific community is watching him. The National Registry of Organs, which was started because of him. These people take the excised organs and store them as if they're in a museum and study them, and they register them just to keep track of them. The government is now controlling them. So Saul has the attention of the art community, a surgeon, the government, and the government's represented by this type of FBI agent who is using Saul as an inside man to get inside of the plastic eaters' inner circle to find out what they're up to and where they are. And at the same time, the surgeon is fascinated by Saul, and his assistant, Kristen Stewart, is playing Saul as well, from a certain angle. And then you also have Caprice, Léa Seydoux, who is trying to keep Saul bound to their unspoken agreement. You come to feel kind of sorry for Saul, in that he's just a pawn for everybody. He's never quite in a position of power. He's the one being operated on. He's the one under everyone's gaze. He's being used as a tool, as a spy, as a piece of art. And he's never quite seen as a person. And this is creating some kind of inner conflict for him as we learn that he's not quite accepting of who he is. His lack of identity within himself has led him to this point, and it's kind of like his external world is kind of mirroring what's going on inside of him. He seems to be into the art, but we learn that he is not. so much into it. He just likes to have the organs removed. He doesn't care for the surgery. He doesn't care that the government wants him to infiltrate this thing called an inner beauty pageant, where people gawk at your insides, and then you're given a placement award, and a very strange world they paint here. Yeah, Saul's never quite committed to anything but the art. There's a lot going on with Scott Speedman as the father. We don't quite know what he's up to until very late in the movie. And that's the case with all these threads. Everything does come to fruition. Everything does get kind of tied up. Let's just say the film ends with a smile on Saul's face, and he's very satisfied. The beginning of the movie opens with Saul in this thing called a breakfaster chair, which is like a set of bones shaped like a chair. It's mechanical, and it moves about while you're eating, so it looks very uncomfortable. The head's rocking back to the left and right. The rest of the chair is kind of like maneuvering your body. It's supposed to optimize your digestion and your chewing and your swallowing while you're eating. And it looks really uncomfortable. The movie opens with this, with Saul in the breakfaster chair, and he looks in pain. He can't get a bite to eat because he can't quite maneuver to get the spoon in his mouth. And the end of the movie ends. The end of the movie is Saul in that same chair. He changes his diet a little bit and is finally full. He feels fulfilled. Almost the whole scene is without dialogue. I think there's maybe 2 lines. It ends just on a beautiful note, where we see our main character fulfilled, and you could say happy. Oh, there's a dog barking now. That's great. You could say happy. It's the happiest we've seen in the entire movie. The film doesn't shy away from things, as I mentioned. There are no sex scenes in this movie to speak of, specifically. Every sex scene is either cut off before it starts or it doesn't happen at all. It sounds like it doesn't make sense, but it does. The only sex scenes in the movie are kind of BDSM-ish, very pain fetishy. The camera doesn't shy away from those scenes. When there's a great scene involving a stomach zipper that you'll see exactly what I'm talking about if you watch this. You'll see why these scenes replace sex scenes. But yeah, it's got some interesting things to say about humanity and technology and coming to terms with where we're headed. This society that we see in the movie is very inward turned. Kind of everyone's a black hole, and they're all just kind of sucking each other in. And everyone's using each other, as exemplified by Saul's role in the story. So yeah, it's an interesting film. A lot going on. I watched it 1.5 times. It was basically twice. You know, it's not... It's not as crazy as people might make it out to be. It's just bizarre. So, I mean, if you can get past pain fetish stuff, and I say that lightly, but if you can get past that, you can enjoy just the sci-fi dystopian world of this story. It's very nice, very well crafted. It does a good job of painting the world as this rundown, kind of trashy. We don't see anything too glamorous except when they're at their art performances. So yeah, it's a world where we're more fusing with technology, and in this case, the sooner that this society accepts it, the better off they'll be, because there won't be all these warring factions. Yeah, how this applies to our world, I'm just going to stay ignorant too. Yeah, that feels a lot better. Let's not think about that. This has been Film Juice.